Hi, friends. I'm Shantasia, and welcome to my bookshelf. Today, I'm going to be sharing my February wrap up. All the books that I read were really, really good. I just wish that I could have appreciated them a lot better. But overall, I enjoyed all of them. I loved them. It made me look forward to something. So, the first book I read was Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. This book is a romantasy. This is the third book in the Empyrean series. So I'm going to talk a little bit about this book. So just skip until you don't see this book no more. Just skip because I have some things to say. Did you skip? Did you? I hope so because I'm about to start talking. Right? Now, so I ate up the beginning. The middle part was pretty underwhelming. It was underwhelming. It was slow, and I get it. We were building up new areas, and some things were a little confusing to me. But overall, it was okay. I felt myself wanting Riddick to just come in and be the comic relief and understand, get to know him more than Violet. Speaking of Riddick, he was the apple of my eye in this book. I want to make a campaign, protect Riddick at all costs, because y'all know how Rebecca Yarros does. She likes to be killing people off. Anyway, so after all that, the action was really good. The writing was pretty good. Some things were a little bit boring, some filler. I really think that this could have been a trilogy. Overall, I feel like this world is comfort. I love the characters. I gained respect for Kat and Dane. I gave this a 4.25. I will be continuing it. I still love it, but some things were just meh for me. I don't know what Rebecca does, but ending of this book always grabs you back in. In the middle, it's slow, underwhelming, setting up. But the end just get me in there. I'm like, what? And we have to wait 2 years? Okay. She's dragging. Book number 2 is Spark of the Everflame by Penn. This follows a young girl named Diem, and her mother disappears. And when her mother disappears, Diem comes face to face to some secrets that her mom was hiding from her. And throughout this, she starts, throughout this whole thing, she starts making decisions for herself. I gave this a 2-star. I loved the plot, but I didn't like the main character. Or she didn't have any critical thinking skills, in my opinion. I understand characters are gonna make this they're characters, so they're not real, but they have to have human qualities. But this one, I was just not tolerant of what she was going on. I finished it, and I was going to start book 2, and I was like, I can't. She's too immature. And at some points, I'm like, I understand why her mom kept secrets from her and why her mom didn't let her make any decisions. She's more of act now, think later, kind of. I think she barely thinks. I don't know. And I read this in the beginning of February, so it's kind of fuzzy because I don't like it. I'm getting rid of this book. But the concept was so good if the character was just made differently. It wasn't my vibe. I like more of a strong-willed, know what she wants type of woman with a little bit of stubbornness. But this one here, she was too stubborn for me. I 2-star. I didn't like it. I'm getting rid of the book. Period. Book number 3 and 4 is one of the best duologies I've ever read. Is Bonesmith and Ghostsmith. This is the House of the Dead duology by Nicki Preto. I know I butchered their last name, but this series was absolutely amazing. It follows a girl named Ren who is desperate to make her father proud and to prove to the rest of the family that she is going to be the best Valkyr in her generation. But when sabotage happens at her final exam, she gets punished terribly and gets sent to the breach where nothing happens and to be forgotten about. But when she's there, she meets a prince, and this prince, he gets kidnapped. She has to find the prince with an unlikely partner, and that's when her story begins. I feel like this duology was so amazing. The plot was amazing. The dialogue was amazing. The character development from book 1 to book 2, you can see her change. You can see her make really, dumb decisions, but also smart decisions. And she knows who she is, and she knows where she has or how she's going to prove herself to the people around her and to her family, and how like it's kind of like a found family situation. Both books, I gave them 5 stars, so it's a 5-star duology, and I yearn for the special editions. I recommend this series if you like adventure, if you are interested in like ghosts and powers and politics and deception. There's a lot of deception in here that made me cry, and there's a lot of secrets, and I just love the world. And I'm sure if you like fantasy, this is it. Like fantasy, ghosts, all of it, like this is for you. Book number 5 is Boy 2.0 by Tracy Baptiste. This follows Cole Keegan, who ends up in a new foster home. And when he ends up in a new foster home, he's uncomfortable, and he ends up going out to do something mischievous and gets into some trouble. And when he gets into some trouble, he ends up noticing that he can turn invisible. He doesn't know how, and he doesn't trust his new foster family. The only person that he can trust is his best friend. And they go on a journey and an adventure to figure out who he is, where he came from, and how. I love this story so much. It was so sweet, and I love seeing representation in the science genre because there's some science in here. First part of the book was really slow because it's setting you up, but the end, it was captivating. I'm like, what's happening? And also because I'm a grown adult and these are kids, so things are happening and he's trying to do things by himself, and I'm just like, if he would have just asked somebody, he could like get answers faster. It was really good. The only thing about this book is that there was a cuss word in here. One of the characters cussed. And I'm like, hold on. I thought it was a middle grade book. They said SHIT. And I'm like, why? Hold on a second. Why we cussing? They're kids. It's a kid's book. But I guess nowadays kids be cussing. So that threw me off. So I recommend this to any kid, but just so you know, there is one curse word in here. Overall, I gave this a 4.5 star, and I hope this is a series. This is like the epitome of Black Boy magic. Okay? Black Boy magic. I loved it. Perfect. Book number 6 is Blood at the Root by Ladarrion Williams. This is a YA fantasy, and this follows a young man named Malik. He knows that he has powers, so different than Boy 2.0, he knows that he has powers, but he's trying to keep them under wraps, and he is trying to protect his young brother. But once him and his brother take a trip to California, he gets an unlikely visit, and this visit changes his travel plans. He ends up going to a HBCU magical college called Cayman University. Things happen from there. It explodes. Overall, this book was really intense and captivating, but I gave it a 3.5 star. Why? The plot was really good, and when our male main character used his magic and you can feel the Black Boy joy in it, I was captivated. I fell in love with it. I love those parts of the book because like you can really see the happiness in him when he starts accepting his powers and when he starts feeling like, okay, I got this. But some of the aspects of this book that I did not like was that there was a lot of references to celebrities that I know. So that really brought me out of the story. There'll be parts where the magic is happening, the action is happening, and then all of a sudden someone is compared to Beyonce. And I'm just like, what? Why? Like, I just didn't like the celebrity usage of people in the book. It just brought me out of it. Like, I understand why. I understand what the characters were fighting for and what they feel and what they need. All the things I understand, but it was just too much celebrity comparison. Additionally to that, there was a lot of use of the cuss word a money sign, money sign. I was like, wow, like there was a lot of use of that word, and I'm like, I want to highlight to see how many times that word has popped up. It was that also brought me out the story, because I'm like, I understand, but it's too much. Calm it down. Calm it down. Homie was getting betrayed left and right. I'm like, oh my gosh, where's the joy? Where's the happiness? Homie was going through it. And it was intense. I'm like, oh no, like he needs to be happy. I feel so bad for him. Oh no, poor Malik the whole time. And people were making me mad in here. I was like, nah, like he needs to be happy. Like, I personally wanted more joy and admiration for his power and the usage and the magical system. The way this book ended, I feel like book number 2, I think I'll get more of that. Honestly, what he deserves. Homie deserves Black Boy joy. He deserves joy. He deserves happiness. You know, all this stuff that he was going through. I hope he, next book he goes to college and he has some fun. I hope that book number 2 lessens the celebrity comparison and lessen the word cuss words and add more joy. That's all I want for Malik, honestly. For book number 7 is Fable by Adrienne Young. So Fable is about a girl named Fable who witnesses her mother's death, and then all of a sudden her father leaves her on an island full of thieves for 4 years. But throughout those 4 years, her goal has always been to get off the island, find her father, and demand her rightful place to work on one of his cruise ships and be by his side. So on one eventful night, she runs and she escapes. She ends up with this unlikely group of people, and she don't know who they are or what they're about, but she knows what she needs to do. They're not considered pirates, they're considered traders. I just love the aspect of pirates. I love the sea. I just wish that there was some magical like realism or some magic or some like sea creatures that were really weird. I enjoyed this book. It gave a lot of adventure. I was like tight on the edge of my seat. When she was getting to where she needed to go, I was rooting for her. I loved her attitude. I loved how confident she is. I loved how she knows what she's doing. Like, there's a part in the book when she jumps overboard and she does her job and she comes back up and the crew starts respecting her. I was like, yes, this is my girl. And the relationship aspect between the crew and her father, that, there's daddy issues, and it's just like the whole world is so cutthroat. That's how I see it. It's like, it's so rough for people in this world, and they're just trying to make the best of it, because we're just following her story, basically how this world works and how she has to maneuver to survive. Like, this book low-key reminded me of Tress of the Emerald Sea, but the main character, she's not as nice as the character in Tress of the Emerald Sea. Like, Fable, homegirl, she was born for this life, and she gonna do what she need to do. I gave this book a 4-star, only because there's no magical elements. The last book that I read in February was a reread, Shady Hollow by Juneau Black. It's like a cozy murder mystery with animal creatures. I've said this in my first video that it's one of my favorite books that I like to reread to cleanse my palate and to get my heart pumping and get me like excited to read books again. I give it a 5-star. I recommend the book for something really light, cozy, some murder mysteries, and honestly, I challenge you to read it and to see if you can find out who's the murderer. Because every time I read it, I find like I read this book like 5 times, and sometimes I just forget little bits and pieces. I'm like, oh, that's how it points to that person. Oh, of course. Anyways, if you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.